Hi, Dominique. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, your last name of DiBenedetto reminds me of the last name that I was born with. It was not Taylor, it was Di Giacomo. I was
Oh my
born
gosh.
Eric Di Giacomo. Very Italian name.
Yeah,
What
what's up with
gives?
yeah, like
So, my parents, let's see, when was this? So, this was halfway through high school. My parents strongly encouraged me to change my name before going to college. So between high school and college, which is kind of a natural transition point, I ended up, moving to California to go to college and stuff. And I didn't know anybody when I got there. So natural place to change one's name. And their reasoning was that Di Giacomo is just a really hard name to live with. And it's got space, it's got a space between the D and the I. It's got a capital G, which is your second capitalized letter. And then it's got the GIA, which English speakers say is Gia.
yeah.
And so everyone called me Di Giacomo for, the first 17 years of my life, or the guacamole, or
Oh
the
my
jock
God.
strap. I was called all sorts of to this and to that.
Yeah, I used to get Dominique to get in my bedo.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I used
Well,
to get in high school. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
And Mednick, I guess, is your married name. Is that right?
Yeah, so I mean, I love my husband and I have two children and they're mednics as well, but for the longest time, when I started doing hair, it was just Dominique DiBenedetto, and I I couldn't part with it because it was just such a it's my name, and that's how I started. But also, my father passed away in 2013, and I just felt like I just wasn't ready to part with it.
Hmm.
And I kept it in some facets. So I do business as DiBenedetto.
Yeah. All right. That makes sense. Well, I like it. All right. So, for the listeners who don't know you, you're a South Florida hairdresser who empowers those experiencing hair loss,
Right.
and you help guide salons into hair loss alternatives, which is always one of my favorite topics, and we don't deal with it enough. And to tie a bow on your intro, you're also a Redken artist,
Yep.
and you go to the Redken events, and you do a lot of Redken stuff. And
Yeah.
so we're friends with Redken. We've been selling Redken, distributing Redken to our about 3,300 beauty professionals for many, many years. So very, very cool. Anything else you want to tell the crowd before we get into your story?
Well, I love the industry. I love owning a salon. I own a salon in South Florida as well. I have a staff about 15. I'm still behind the chair with them. And the passion for hair loss came because I actually lost all of mine. So,
Okay, hold
um,
on, hold on. I definitely want to go there, but I want to have some chronology to it. So, talk about where you're from
oh,
and how you
sorry.
got into hair.
So I'm from South Florida. I've been in Florida for a really long time. I wasn't, the strongest one academically. I was college bound, but I was never like really studious. I grew up in the restaurant business, so I was always used to making money quick. And then when like I was faced with this college thing where I was going to be sitting in classes for a really long time for no money.
Yeah, you're actually paying to be
Yes.
there.
And
You're not
I was
making
just
any money for all the time that you're spending. That always really ground on my nerves.
the math was not mathing, and we didn't really have a lot of money, so it wasn't like I was going to be able to go to school and just be a student. It was always going to be I had to be a student and work and um and when I was working in the restaurants, I was just making too good of money to sit there. Like it didn't make any sense. And I had always been interested in, hair kinda. And I always liked it, with being a girl, and I was a girl's girl and everything. But my parents started to get like really pissed at me because I was just like working at a restaurant, dropped out of college, and they're like, okay, so like, are you gonna do something with yourself? Like, you can't just do this. And I'm like, fine, I'll go to the community college and sign up for something. So I signed up for cosmetology. It was the cheapest one.
It was that's not the only reason you signed up. I mean, you had the girly in you,
Right. But
and
what I
you,
what I realized is I've never, like I've always signed up for things and then quit or whatever, but the first day I was hooked.
really.
Yeah. And my parents were actually wondering like why I was getting up early in the morning every morning because they're like, why are you waking up? And it was, I'm going to school. And they couldn't believe that I was like getting up, not going to be late, like just really into this. And it got me right
Wow,
away. And it was like, I don't know whether it was a natural ability or something that I found a passion for, but it just all clicked. And I was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make a lot of money.
I love it. And it sounds like you surprised yourself how much you liked it on that first day. Did you like as you were really just feeling like you were in the right place? Was that a surprising feeling to you?
Well, yeah, because I was, I didn't know what to expect because, I did get the talk from my parents when I told them what I was choosing was, I'm going to do this. And they're like, are you serious? Like, you just dropped out of college to go do this? And I'm like, yeah. Okay, well, there's not a lot of money in that. You're going to be working forever. It's hard on the body. It's just like because of their false notions or the stigmas that have come with being a hairdresser, as my dad would say, and part of that was I wanted to prove them wrong. But two, it was like I wanted to break the stigma. I wanted to do something that I loved and make a lot of money at the same time. And when I got there, when I looked at the floor of like all the older students, like doing hair, doing clients, you could still see like that hustle and bustle of what the salon truly is sometimes. And it kind of like resonated like a restaurant a little bit. It was like this perfect ecosystem of people doing this and people doing that and people happy. And even though it was just a beauty school, you could see the students were happy getting services. The clients that did come into the school, it just you could feel the buzz, and that was something that I felt was infectious and that I wanted to reproduce.
Makes all the sense in the world. All right, so you get out of school, and what did you do?
I mean, I did what everybody else does. I went and started assisting, and I spent too long as an assistant, but in
How
that
long?
time, like 3 years.
Why so long?
Because I mean, when you're a really good assistant, there isn't really a lot of growth that happens because they want to keep you as
An assistant.
the assistant or the cleaning lady or doing all of that grunt work. But and then you get the license and they're like, okay, I'm ready for this chair. And they're like, hold up, girlfriend. You need more experience. And I'm like, what do you mean? I've been doing all your work for the past 3 years. I mean, at that point, my boss was like, he was just picking up the scissors at that point. I was greeting the clients, putting the color on, timing the color, washing the color out, blow drying, and then he was just cutting.
Yeah.
Like at that point. And in the early 2000s, it was very normal to work at those, McMansion salons, the salon and day spa type of thing. And it was like fighting tooth and nail to get a chair or there wasn't even no like opportunity day available. That wasn't even a thing. And I did that for a while, and I actually was like, I can't do this anymore. If you're not gonna like let me do clients, like I have to leave. You're paying me, and at that point was like, I mean, I was like 19, like I was being paid below minimum wage, and so I actually left, and I went to work at a hair cuttery.
Ah, yes. Hair cuttery, the big chain discount
Yes,
salon chain. Yes, on the East
yes,
Coast.
yeah, Ratner companies, yeah,
Ratner companies. Yep.
yeah. But I mean, I built a lot of things there, and I was there for 10 months. And when I came out of there, I was a totally different human being.
Okay, hold on a minute. So it sounds like you were working at this McMansion salon that was probably a high-end salon, right?
Oh yeah.
And so why go to the hair cuttery versus another, higher end salon?
Because I had no clients and they paid by the hour better
Mm-hmm.
and they had volume. And with volume, I knew that I could hone my skill, or even
Okay.
just get a client.
So I like that. Get a client, god damn
Get
it.
a
Like one
client.
fucking client. Okay,
Right.
okay, so but wait, you were an assistant for 3 years. Did they not train you at all? Did they not let you give you any reps on heads?
I mean, they let me, I had so much experience because I was doing all of my boss's work. But when it came down to putting a client in my chair to putting it in someone else's, I was still learning,
Yeah.
and it kind of gave those clients a false, like, not a sense of security or confidence with me because they just kept seeing me as the assistant.
Yeah.
Or they were only giving me like the client's kids, right? Or like, a braid, and I don't even know how to fucking braid still, or they would make me do like little girls updos for their like birthday parties, and I'm like, this is not it for me. And then on top of that, I wasn't even being paid for those services. I was still getting paid below minimum wage, and then I wasn't even really making tips because they were putting them on the credit card and nobody gave them to me.
Right. Right. Okay.
So,
So indentured servitude.
well, I
All
couldn't even
right.
pay like my car payment. I couldn't even buy a pack of cigarettes at the time
All right.
because that's what I
Well,
did. I mean, it was
good reason to quit. All
yeah.
right. So you go to the hair cutter, you figured, all right, this place there's a lot of volume. I'm going to get a lot of experience. I'm going to get my own chair, and probably the consequences of fucking up somebody's hair are
Low.
lower than maybe right a higher end salon. Okay, I'm with you. Keep
But
going.
I was really good. So the only thing, I mean, when I was working there, I built an amazing clientele there in 10 months. And we were using Redken in there. It was Redken gels, lacquers, and Redken gels, Redken Shades of Q. And they used all Redken products, which I was already used to using. And I learned on Redken in school. And I was pumping out these colors that these hair cuttery coworkers of mine have never seen before,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm doing highlights and bases, everything that I have learned over the past couple of years. And my tickets are high for this place. And remember, at the time, my haircut at that place was only $13.
Oh my gosh.
So the wash was $2, the haircut was $13, but the color touch up was the same price as the high end salon that I worked at.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because,
Unexpected.
right, it was weird. But my numbers were, I was getting a paycheck and I was making tips. So for me, this was a win. It was a different demographic, it was a different place, but I was building there really, really fast. And I was like, okay, I have to get in here, build this book, and then go back to another higher end salon. And that's what I know that I needed to do.
Okay.
After 10 months, I won an award. I got a couple awards there. They made me a shift leader, which was interesting, which means you get a key and you basically have to open the store at the crack ass of dawn and be
I
there
was gonna
first.
say, is that good or bad?
No, it's bad. But it gave me a sense of leadership. It made me feel important. It made me feel like, wow, I'm actually good. And I needed to hear that. And now clients are rebooking. They're like, it's just around the time where Facebook launched. So now I'm like trying to recruit all these people to be my friend on Facebook because I
Hmm.
know that I'm going to make a move.
Right.
And it turned out that probably, I would say, over 50% of them followed me. And when I did when I made the move to that commission salon, they were paying $13, and my haircuts went from $13 immediately to 45.
And
And they didn't.
50% of them followed despite the
Yes.
increase. That's awesome.
Yes. And what it showed me is, where like that nugget of learning was, it wasn't about the money. It was about the experience and the service,
Right.
because they were expecting a hair cuttery experience when they were there, but they weren't getting that. They got a high end experience when they sat with me, and they would say to me, like, oh, I've been here before and they never did these little things. And it's like, because I learned them from before, I brought them with me. So that gave me a leg up, that gave me a buzz, that gave me momentum.
Yeah.
And I always knew, like, no matter where I was going to go, that was the level that I was going to bring it, no matter whether it was hair cuttery or it was a high end salon. It didn't matter. It was me that brought that energy. And that's what I really focused on in the beginning of my career. Also, like working a million hours a week and 7 days a week, to get where I wanted to go. And I put the work in, and it repaid me.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that time at Hair Cuttery. I mean, I don't know what the situation with their company is now, but I've told people that have came to work for me, like, you need to go to this place or these places, and you need to figure out speed and what it is really like to work in customer service, because it's a different ball game. And I've met some people there that are lifers there, and they do exceptional. So it's like, I learned very early, it's what you put into it.
Absolutely. Okay, so you left there. You got a lot of benefits from your experience there, but it sounds like you went to a commission salon. Your prices increased. Did
Oh
your
yeah.
prices increase on the color
Yeah.
significantly?
Yeah, because I was bringing a book with me, he was very generous of letting me kind of decipher what my price point was going to be at that time, and that was like in 2000, probably 9.
Okay.
And I think the average hair color price at that time was like 65, I think, for a root touch up. I don't remember, but and everything was a la carte at that time. There was no packages. It was just kind of boom, 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 boom. So the tickets got pretty big, and they were also very generous on feeding me in the beginning, because, I said I was experienced, which I was, and I would pretty much take anything that walked in the door. I didn't really care what it was. If I fucked him up, I fucked him up. Like, it wouldn't. I didn't realize, sometimes when you're dealing with a higher price point and you fuck somebody up, the ramification is a little hard, like, it's a little hotter. So it's a little hotter. So
Yeah.
over time, I was there for like a couple of years, and I actually got promoted to like another kind of, like, not shift leader, but more of like head colorist area. So I was starting to train everybody that was coming in. Kind of them, they would sit by me, they would kind of learn how I do things. And I was their head trainer when it came to new talent.
And do you get paid more for that?
I did not.
Yeah.
I did
Okay.
not.
So how long were you at that salon?
I was there for probably about 5 or 6 years.
Okay, decent amount of time. And then
Yeah.
where'd you go?
At that point, he was selling, and we actually didn't know about it. And it was kind of like, hey, we're having a meeting, surprise, we're closing.
Oh,
Yeah.
like selling as in selling to somebody who wanted to close the salon?
Like selling to somebody else, and basically we have the option to stay there, or the new owners have the option to fire.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm not really feeling this. I didn't like the way that it was delivered. You know what I mean? It was kind of a little bit dicey. You just bring in the meeting, all of a sudden we're being, changed over, which is fine. I understand now, being a
Yeah.
business owner, how that works. But,
Right.
I was probably mid 20s there, like mid 20s, early 20s there. And I was kind of nervous. So one of the girls that was there, she opened like this, not a suite, but it was like a studio in a building. And of course, me thinking, oh my gosh, she wants me. It was because my book was massive. And she needed it, you know? So I went with her. That exploded. It was, the room was just too small. And then I opened a studio suite
Got it. Very good.
and I loved it in there. Um, I did really well. I learned a lot. I mean, you learn really when you are alone how to run a business. Now I'm paying for all the color. I'm booking all the appointments. I'm doing everything, laundry, all the things. Uh that was also a humbling experience as well, because when you're in some of those salons, like, you have multitudes of support staff. I no longer had any support staff. I learned really quick I needed to hire an assistant, and I was very lucky. I actually had one come with me from the other place that we were at. So it was our little operation that we had, and I had a large double. So at that point, I probably jammed about 4 chairs in there.
Wow. Wow,
And
you're cranking.
oh my God, yeah. It was standing room only. And my clients didn't care, you know what I mean? And I had even now brought hair cuttery people, the other salon people, and now we're here.
Right.
And I was at the studio for a really long time. And, you know, by that time I'm going into my 30s, and I kind of maxed out my potential in that space.
Hold on. Before we go there, what was it like to all of a sudden be keeping all the money that you were bringing in? Because you were first working for wages hourly, and then you worked for commission, and then all of a sudden you're keeping all the money. Of course, you have expenses, but that there's a different economic calculation, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you see all that money come in, you're just like, you're just enamored. You know what I mean? I was. But at the same token, I mean, I did exceptionally well in those commission-based salons, like exceptionally well. And there were parts about it that I didn't really, being in a suite, I didn't really love. You know what I mean? I didn't love the admin work. I didn't love the inventory, because I'm just not one of those type of people that is good at that. And that was really hard for me to get a manage of, and it took me a while to do that. But the money was great. It led me to believe, I mean, how do I guess it kind of was like a double-edged sword, because me being also impulsive when it comes to money, I would make impulsive spending decisions because I saw all of that there.
Got it. Got it.
And I was like, okay, I mean, I needed to rein it in.
Yeah, you're spending.
Oh my God.
What is your favorite spendy item?
I mean, I
Shoes.
enjoyed going to the beauty supply store and just making it rain in that place. I mean, I would buy tools. I mean, because I was like, I'm a workaholic, so like I like to reinvest back into my business. You know what I mean? I'd be buying so much color that it would be no way that I would be ever even like to run out. Because when I did work in the commission salon, sometimes we didn't have everything in the arsenal. So I had a little bit of PTSD there. Because it was kind of one of those things where it was like, hey, we don't have any of this. Well, make it.
Yeah.
Because we're not ordering until a week from now.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So
That's not the right way to do it. Okay.
no, it's not. And my salon doesn't run that way.
Yeah.
But because I was in that kind of headspace, I mean, I would just buy every time I'd walk in there. I would be like, oh, I need this. I need this. I need this. And my inventory costs were just so intense. And then what else did I buy? I went on a couple of vacations, a couple computers, a car, you
Yeah.
know, with a big ass car payment.
Yeah.
Like I
Fancy
tripled
car.
I needed the fancy car now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like I was the epitome of that hood rich hairstylist.
That's funny.
Like Gucci belt, BMW, dumb bag that, yeah, in
Yeah.
2016, 17, 18, that was me. I was like,
Yeah.
I could be a meme.
That's really funny. All right. So we haven't yet gone into the hair loss part of your career. And you gave me a little taste early on that you had personal experience with this.
Yeah.
Had you started the personal experience with hair loss by now?
Yeah, my experience with hair loss had started in my early 20s, and I had been working on concealing it probably all through those times.
Why so early for you? Do you know?
Well, I do now. So I have what's called PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it is a hormone. It's an endocrine issue, and probably I would say 1 out of 5 women have it,
Wow.
and it's a basically it's not something that gets diagnosed. It's a syndrome. So how you fit in the syndrome is if you have X amount of symptoms that go into the syndrome. Basically, it has to do with your metabolism and your insulin. So it means that you're insulin resistant. You might not have regular cycles. You have problems with infertility, hair loss. Your testosterone tends to be a little bit higher. Abnormal facial hair, abnormal weight gain. It's a there's many symptoms that are with it, but you have to fit that certain profile to be diagnosed. Is there any cure? No. Basically, it needs to be moderated with diet and exercise.
What kind of diet?
So basically, no processed foods, nothing starchy, no carbs, or healthy carbs, and a lot of exercise. And when I look back at these profiles of what they said, I fit those profiles my entire life. I did struggle to get pregnant with my first son. I did go through fertility treatment. I did start losing my hair in my young 20s. I always dealt with an issue with my weight. I did have irregular cycles, and I did have abnormal facial hair or body hair. And I had all of them. And to get a doctor to agree with me was really hard because they were saying, "Oh, that's not a thing. That's not a thing." And I had went to multitude of dermatologists about the hair loss, and they kept saying, "Oh, it's hereditary." And if I look at my family, there has been no one that has had any kind of hair loss. I mean, my family has the thickest hair I've ever seen,
Yeah.
so those things just didn't make sense, and it was just kind of being dismissed. And so of course we had like the topic fibers, the spray, root spray, and I cut my hair so short like Kris Jenner for a while. It looked hot, but it had to go so short because it was just thinning so bad. And obviously going through 2 pregnancies that didn't really help either. So now going and getting older, it's definitely something that I couldn't, it was really getting hard to hide. And that's, I mean, because I have a personal relationship with hair loss, I think that's why I am so adamant about being on the forefront of it.
Very, very interesting. Um, I I mean, I haven't experienced that. I have experienced just typical male pattern baldness, and my doctor put me on Propecia and Rogaine, which was very effective for me. And I tell all my guy friends about it. Most of them ignore the advice and they end up bald,
Right.
and not too long. But for men, and I say for men because I know it's different for women. I don't think Propecia works for women. I don't think Rogaine. I think they say they have a woman's thing, but I think the major like minoxidil product that they have is a men's. Supposedly, it deals with the men's hormones.
Yeah.
And so it's been effective for me, and it was so effective that it just kind of it just became something that I was conscious of all the time. And then to get so much pushback from guys that I talk to even try the smallest thing. It has been really surprising to me. With women, it's something that I know comes with a great deal more sensitivity. A lot of guys don't care, but ladies care a lot. So my wife's hair started thinning after we had our two kids, and it seems like she's gotten a handle on it. But I know it's a very, very sensitive thing. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, is because it's so sensitive for ladies, and it's much more prevalent than I think anybody actually knows.
Yeah. So, as like you said with men, I think a lot of men, they'll kind of brush it off. But basically, I think that sometimes, like I can speak on my husband's behalf, it's definitely bothered him to the point where he started taking like Nutrafol, right? So
Hmm.
that just shows that it's on there, it's on his mind.
Okay, good.
Is he gonna? I don't know if he would go get minoxidil or Propecia, which I would highly suggest. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, because in society, it's generally more accepted for men to just have it and be fine with it.
Yep.
For us, it is it. We don't realize how much it defines us until you lose it, right?
Right.
So, as someone who started losing it in their 20s, and it's something that we don't have any control over. If we've heard through many years, like, if you don't like it, change it. Go get the Botox, go get the surgery, go do all these things. But hair loss is not like that, because they don't even have an answer to why this is happening.
Yeah.
It is happening in such abundance that they can't even get a handle on it. The client demand for people being helped for this demographic is so high, with the stylist demand being so low. And that's the first time I think I've seen that in our industry, because listen, we have the extension demand, right? Everyone does extensions. Everybody wants extensions. So it's an even playing field. Everyone is losing their hair. No stylist. I mean, I can't even tell you. I mean, the amount of people that come from all over the United States that come and sit in my chair. People are flying in now to get a
Yeah.
piece. And not only to have a piece, but a piece that is professionally done for them, where it still looks like them.
Right.
The hair loss client doesn't want to reinvent the wheel. They want to go back to looking the same they did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So why are we not delivering? Why is this such a problem? It's glamorous to get extensions. It's glamorous to say that you do K-tips and sew-ins. I do them all day long. But for some reason, this brings shame.
Right.
And breaking that stigma is, I think, what I was, why why my hair is gone. Because the only way that I could move past this insecurity was to exacerbate it by my own. Because I'm insecure about it still. I'll never like it. I'll never love it. But have I accepted it? Yes. I'll never be like, oh, I don't want it to grow back. But I just know that it's not. And most women in this case, and due to whether it's PCOS, thyroid, lupus, any hormonal changes, menopause,
Alopecia.
postpartum, alopecia, tension-based alopecia, stress-induced alopecia, some of the mental health disorders that come with losing hair, or PTSD. You know what I mean? Sometimes the body will shed the hair or cause the hair to fall out when somebody is going under a massive amount of stress. Now, with the rise of GLP-1 drugs, Ozempic, trizipatide, they are helping people control their weight, but the hair loss is undeniable. And because the body is going through such a quick nutritional shed, the body can't keep up with what is happening. So, and I am on one of those drugs. And believe it or not, I said earlier that I have PCOS. one of the drugs to handle this syndrome is one of those GLP-1s.
Oh, interesting.
But
Well, not necessarily for hair loss specifically,
no,
but for other symptoms.
right. So it
Okay.
will help my body metabolize insulin better. But did it make me lose more hair? Yes. But I didn't really give a shit because I have a topper on.
You have a solution for it.
Right. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, feel better, have my body run like it's supposed to, increase my metabolism, make me look better, and I just have to lose more hair. I'm already struggling with that, so big
Easy.
deal. Right.
Easy decision.
And what I'm noticing is that women that are sitting in the chair, they are taking these GLP-1s and they're like, screw it, I'll get a topper. We're starting to see a change. And I don't know. I think it's going to get more popular as 20 into 2025 and 2026 because our normal extension solutions are not the solutions that everybody can have.
Yeah.
So I can't wear extensions. I none. And
Because it has
so
to bind to something, right?
yeah, there's nothing.
Consistently.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
needs a home.
Right.
It needs a partner.
Right.
So but the thing is that holds a lot of women back is like you mentioned earlier was that it brings a level of embarrassment, shame, and almost like it's their fault. And a lot of these clients are hiding in their homes, never going to salons because they don't trust the salons or they don't trust the
Sure.
professionals because they have been told by other professionals in a very insensitive way, I can't help you.
Yeah. No, I've seen it. So our first salon, Republic, in Studio City, just a suburb of LA. When I opened that salon 14 years ago, and I was working there 80 hours a week for the first 2 or 3 years, we had 3 hairdressers who worked together as a team, and they specialized in the hair pieces,
Mm,
and they had an absolute gangbusters business. And you were speaking to why there's not that many hairdressers who do it, or we don't know of the hairdressers who do it. There's a lot of sensitivity and vulnerability to the clients who come in. They have hats on, they wear glasses. They don't want anyone to see who they are coming in. When they leave, they look phenomenal. The hat is in their hand and the glasses are in their pocket. But and when the hairdressers were in the studio, their window shades are drawn, and the door opens and closes very quickly, and nobody wants to see, what the sausage making is like. But they had such a tremendous business for many, many years and still do.
right.
And some other locations, I know that we have some people who specialize in it, but I think you're 100% correct that the supply of people who know how to do it well does not even come close to the demand for people of people who want these services. And also I think that the hairdressers are less apt to posting, to marketing, to using photography of clients who don't want their pictures out there. It's something that's maybe people think that it's better behind closed doors, so the marketing is not there. You are out there with it. And I see that on your social media, on your Instagram, you do a great job of posting content on it. And how are you so good at it, and others don't want to try?
So like it's like that pay it forward thing, right? So I always ask somebody when they find me, how did you find me? And they say TikTok or Instagram, I saw one of your videos. So, and then I'll ask them, I'm like, would you be open to film your experience? About 95% of them tell me yes, and because they say, well, that's how I found you. I'm like, that's your way of helping this community.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Good point.
right. So I'm like, that's your pay it forward. Somebody's going to see your video and they are going to resonate with what you look like and say, that's me. She did it. I need to go there. Just
Mm-hmm.
like, for example, I'm just going to show you.
Okay.
When they sit down, I always make sure that I either take this off and I show them what it
So
is.
hold on. For those listening, Dominique just took her topper off.
Yes, I took my
You have
hair
quite a
off.
bit of hair.
Well, this is all covered with root spray, all the
Okay.
holes. You can see here there
This
is,
is on YouTube, by the way, listeners, if you don't know that
you
already.
can see, you can't, I did it today, so, and I don't really wash my hair that much, but there are some significant holes in the back, and
Okay.
this is very sparse. When I don't
Mm-hmm.
have anything, this is,
I see.
and like, this is my piece.
Yep.
And for somebody who struggles with this, the amount of time that they have to do their hair to make it look halfway decent, it takes about 2 hours. And
Wow.
that's something that I know personally. And then when they go outside, it completely falls, or they sweat, or it looks like nothing. When they see somebody do this just like I did right now, it's immediate freedom. Because this took me, like, I would never leave the house. I mean, I would. I mean, yeah, I did earlier today, actually. I'm okay with it now, but 5 years ago, I would never have shown you that, because it just mortified me to the point where I couldn't even, I could have one. I just couldn't even, like, I couldn't do it. For the first
Mm-hmm.
year, I didn't talk about it to my clients. And
Yeah.
then when I started having them sit in my chair, to the ones that immediately needed it, I did, because I knew that they needed my help.
Yeah.
But to the other ones, I'm like, they're like, oh, you grew your hair out. I'm like, yeah, I did. Because I didn't want to talk about it with them, because I wasn't ready to share it with them.
Yeah.
It took me a year to take this off and put it on in front of my own husband.
Wow.
To this day, if we're like in the bathroom, like getting ready together, I find myself waiting till he leaves until I just like put it on when we're like leaving.
Wow. Well, what does he say to that? He knows that.
Yes, he knows
Okay.
that. And he's like, why, whether he's picked up on it or not, he's never really asked me why, but like I will find myself like when we're on vacation, I'll like do my makeup, no problem, and then I'll just kind of shut the door and put it on. It's getting better now, but it's just something that's there, because that act of like I have to put my hair on in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Because is he going to see that transformation? I mean, when I found this, he was so happy because I didn't take photos. I didn't want to be photographed with our kids because of just how much scalp was showing, and it made my
Oh,
face look bigger. I had a million reasons to why.
right.
But now it's like I can get up and put my hair on and just wear no makeup and leave the house with sweatpants and a t-shirt on, and I don't give a shit
Yeah. Good.
as long as I have my hair.
Yeah.
It also catapulted me to do other things in my life. I wouldn't be on this with you. You would have never found my Instagram if this wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would have never became a Redken artist, because when you are an artist and you're a good one, you have to be in front of people, and you have to be in front of salons, and you have to talk, and you have to be confident and be able to command a room. And without this, I can't.
Right.
So that, because it changed my life to that degree, I know what it's doing for other women.
Absolutely. All right. So, what percentage of your business is this type of service?
It's like exceedingly bigger every day. It went from maybe one consult a week to now it's like 5 or 6, sometimes 3 or 4 a day. And that
Wow.
doesn't count. And that's like now virtual, right? So
Okay.
I'm getting on the phone with them, and they don't live in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I pick a piece for them over the phone. We FaceTime through it. I talk to them about what they want, what they're looking for. I look at their hair. They send pictures. I design a piece for them, whether it's cutting, coloring, and we talk through the whole process. And then I send it out to them. We get back on a FaceTime, and I make sure they have it and everything's okay.
Wow. Fascinating. And how long does that take to do it virtually? I mean, you
I
just
mean,
sped through the steps right there, but it's got to take while. An
No,
hour,
I mean,
2 hours?
if I have it in like if like I get asked a lot for this because a lot of women want like this is they say
Sure.
I want that exact thing and I'm like okay. So if I have this in stock then it's just basically me cutting it and cutting it takes me about 2 hours.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Now, you also, do you educate on this service for other salons and independent hairdressers?
Yes, I actually just had a hands-on topper class about 3 weeks ago in my salon in South Florida. And basically, you buy a ticket and it provides you with that topper. And you come in, and I basically go in from A to Z of how this works. And we do a full coloring on the topper. And what my hope is for these attendees is that they get to sell that topper and get a return on their investment of the class. And we color it like a lighter color so that they have room to play with it if they need to. But we go into coloring, designing it, debulking it, rooting, also dealing with the kind of clients that they will be dealing with, the psychological issues that these clients are going to come in. It's not going to be, oh my gosh, hi, I'm here to get toppers. Like
Yeah.
they're going to come in sometimes in tears.
Yeah, with sunglasses on and a hat,
Yes,
and they don't
and
want to be seen by anybody. They want to be in the back.
right. And some of them you'll find that they're just so effing over it that they're just ready and they're like, put it on me, I'm over it. I've been dealing with this for 20 years. I finally need a solution. And when you have and when you have these people that are that ready for their life to change, there's no sales involved. And
You're there to
that,
solve their problem.
yeah, like that is it. Like, that's why I always, like in my bio, it's like, I help people do this, you know, and because I know what they're feeling. I've seen them come in maybe 3 or 4 times for the same consult over and over again, and they're just afraid because they just don't know what to think. And the biggest thing that I've now have realized, and now that I tell them, is for any alternative hair wear or going through this, is you're uncomfortable now. Like right now, you're uncomfortable. You don't like what's happening to you right now. You cannot change it. There is no pill cure and it's uncomfortable and you don't like it. When you get the topper, it's going to be uncomfortable the first couple of times. You're going to not like it. You're going to feel weird, but that's going to go away. It's just choosing your hard. That is what your choice is. And I think when I narrow it down that way, they're like, you're right. I'm so uncomfortable and so stressed out about this. I'm going to be stressed out about this too, but this is going to go away.
Right.
And I feel like that has made a significant difference because that's kind of how I felt when it started with me. Like I was uncomfortable leaving the house with it for the first time. I thought that everybody was looking at me. And actually, nobody was looking at me. People just said to me, "Hey, did you get a haircut?" I'm like, "What the fuck?" Or, "Hey, you grew your hair out." And
Yeah.
that was it.
Right.
It wasn't in this situation, we're not wanting people to look at it. When most people get extensions done or any kind of, physical enhancement, they want it to be noticed. In this case, we want it to be invisible.
That's
So
right.
how do you
And
make right? So how do you change someone's life so significantly, but make it invisible?
yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating, the whole thing. Well, okay, look, so where can people find your classes and information? Instagram is best?
Yeah, I hang out there.
Okay.
Hair by Dom D is where I hang out, is my handle. And I have a hands-on topper class coming up in March.
Okay. In Florida?
Yep, South Florida, yeah, in Boynton Beach,
Okay.
Florida. And I'm hoping, and every class has had maybe 1 or 2 more attendees. I'm hoping to get it out there. I've been asked by a couple of salons to, come there, which I'm willing to do. Just depends on how many people that they get, like the demand, right? So we're trying to increase the demand. But it also can significantly change your business, like
Oh,
beyond
this is
means.
no, it's
Like,
huge. I mean, this is big. This is big money. This is big what big points in heaven. I mean, this is enormously beneficial when it comes to
It checks all the boxes.
it checks all the boxes. I can't even find the words. It's
It's
it,
a
we
true
yeah,
it's a true profit for a purpose.
it is. It 100% is. You're making huge difference in people's lives. Well, that's why I wanted to talk to you. So I appreciate you coming on, Dominique. This is amazing,
Thank
and
you.
I look forward to more posts on your Instagram.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. I love talking about it.